Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. I'm Ryan Beach, and for those of you that don't know me, I make videos that give tips and ideas about how to get the most out of your practice sessions, and I share videos of my own practice sessions as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing so you don't miss any content. In this video, we're gonna be talking about how to prepare for a large amount of material, something like a recital, which is gonna be the focus of this particular video, but also things like auditions will fall under this category as well. Although I wouldn't consider myself to be a soloist by any means, I've done a fair amount of recitals in my career, and it's something that I've always enjoyed, the challenge of trying to figure out how to put all of this repertoire together and be able to play my best for the length of time that I have to. It's just a unique challenge to me, and one that I always enjoy trying to tackle. Because everybody's needs are a little bit different when preparing for a recital, I'm just not really gonna go over the nuts and bolts of how to prepare for a recital. I'm not gonna cover the starting tempos and the ending tempos and how to progress and all that kind of stuff. If that's something you're interested in, I'll leave a link down below where you can sign up for a free 30-minute call where I can talk to you about your specific needs if you'd like to do that. But instead, in this video, I'm just gonna present the 3 phases of performance preparation that I think is really helpful to be able to sort of ground the work and what you're focused on while you're preparing. And then I'll give a bonus tip at the end in terms of just an easy organizational thing that I think is really helpful in being able to manage the amount of work you might have to do. The 3 phases of performance preparation, at least the way that I talk about it, is 1, the acclimation phase, 2, the engraining phase, and 3, the peaking phase. Now these are things that I stole directly from working out. If you have spent any time in the gym and any time researching programming, this will sound a lot like block training, which has a volume phase, a realization or transmutation phase, and then a peaking phase at the end. For athletes, the value of block training is that we can sort of specify what we're focused on and how we do specific exercises in terms of sets and repetitions based on how far away we are from the athletic event or the powerlifting meet that we are, so that allows us to get the maximum amount of benefit based on what our needs are at a given time. I found this kind of methodology to be very useful for musicians because, much like an athlete, we are many times getting ready for a specific event like a recital or an audition or a jury or just a performance in general, and being able to take advantage of preparing for a proper length of time and then focusing on specific facets of learning can really make sure that we put things in the right order and set ourselves up for success in performance. The first phase we're going to talk about in this video is the acclimation phase, and this is basically all about learning. Our main goal by the end of this phase is to understand every single thing you can understand about the music that you're preparing. This is gonna mean rhythm, this is gonna mean articulation, this is gonna mean style. This is also gonna mean you understand how to move through the phrases, and as trumpet players specifically, how I wanna use my air. Putting the focus on learning at these early stages will make it so that once we have actually learned everything there is to know about the music, this is a very ideal way of looking at it, but once we've learned that, we're gonna be able to speed up the process of learning as the process goes on. Generally speaking, this phase is going to be defined by pretty slow tempos, maybe 50 or 60% of whatever the goal that you want to go is for a particular section. And to get the most out of this phase, you're really trying to make sure that you develop this mental model that you can hold your work against. So in your head, you know what you want to sound like, and then you're playing and you're saying, when do these not match up, so that you know where to put your focus and be able to drive the learning that you still have left to do. The next phase we're going to talk about is the engraining phase. Now, hopefully you have done your due diligence in the acclimation phase and you've done all the learning. I know this is, again, a very utopian sort of way of thinking about it, but if you've done all the learning there, then in the engraining phase, what we're trying to do is say, now that I know what to do, I need to do that every single time so that I can begin to ingrain that or imprint that as the way I want it to go. This is going to take a ton of focus to be able to recreate success over and over and over again, and this is really where we begin to build in the repetition that will allow us to be successful in performance. In terms of tempo ranges, this phase is going to pick up where you left off in the acclimation phase, so maybe around the 60% range, and you're gonna try to hold the quality that you built in the acclimation phase, going all the way up to the peaking phase, which is gonna be 100%, or your performance tempos. The third and final phase of this process is going to be the peaking phase. And this phase is all about trying to refine your musical presentation that you want to be able to have in performance. The work that you've done in the previous two phases is about learning and trying to ingrain and having this high level of focus that everything is exactly right. You sort of need to let that go. Now we're gonna focus on running entire movements or entire pieces that you'd be playing on this recital. This, for an audition, would look like running in mock rounds and things like that. And you wanna focus on recording yourself, listening back and saying, is this what I wanna sound like musically? In the end, the music that we make is what is most important. So putting this phase last allows us to spend the first two phases flipping over every stone, making sure that we understand every single thing that we need to understand musically and about our technical execution. And then again, in this peaking phase, saying, okay, now that I've got that in place, I wanna make sure that I'm playing all the music I want to. For the quick organizational bonus tip that I promised at the beginning of the video, generally speaking, for repertoire, I'm gonna break each one of these pieces down into individual sections. I've got a video about how to do that for etudes. It's very similar for pieces of music. This way it allows you to say, okay, this section's kind of easy, I'll put it over here in this category. This section's kind of challenging, I'll put it here. And this section is basically impossible and I'll put it over here. And that way you can spend more time on the very challenging stuff, but still make sure you're covering the easier things that you don't want to just neglect, because at least in my experience, the stuff that I practice a lot is the stuff that goes well, and the stuff that I think could never have any problem whatsoever is the stuff that goes horribly. All right, everybody, that's gonna be all for this video. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you give it a like down below, and again, don't forget to subscribe so you can see more content like this. As I mentioned before, I'll leave a link down below for a free 30-minute Zoom call that we can have together. So if you have specific recital needs or you have more follow-up questions about what we talked about here, sign up for that so I can help you more one-on-one. Thanks so much for watching the video. Always remember, stay strong, be kind to yourself, never stop growing, and we'll see you in the next video.